my friends. JLC Live. This is the 30th anniversary, but don't forget, JLC Live is actually the sister show to Build Show Live. So if you're having some FOMO and you want to come to Build Show Live, guys. October 16th through the 18th. All the Build Show Network contributors are going to be at Build Show Live. In the meantime, though, let's see what's new and interesting from JLC Live. Let's get going. All right, y'all, coming to you from the Modern Mill booth here at JLC. I was actually here, Chandler, about 4 years ago, and I'm pretty sure y'all made my best of 4 years ago. Very intriguing product, but you've matured. You're no longer a teenager anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What is this product we're looking at?
We've evolved, yeah. So this product is called Acre by Modern Mill. We like to position and introduce this material as the evolution or next generation of PVC composite wood alternative.
Okay, so break this down for us. It's a composite, meaning it's PVC plus what?
Well, I think Steve's holding the secret ingredient there, but we actually blend rice hulls with PVC resin and some other ingredients.
So Steve, rice hulls, why would we want rice hull?
Well, rice hulls are highly durable, but they're also, I'm told, the #1 waste product in the world by volume. So there's a lot of this stuff waiting around looking to be used.
Fascinating. All right, so it's PVC and rice hulls blended, which makes a board that's obviously not going to break down, right? But I suspect that maybe the rice hulls give it some kind of graininess or some type of ability to hold a fastener. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, it's a great question, and you're on the right track for sure. So by blending and incorporating the rice hulls in this material, which by the way, rice hulls are an incredibly resilient natural fiber, right? So the rice hull protects the rice grain during the growth cycle from water, weather, pests, mold, and mildew, which are all the benefits that we want for an exterior building material. So by blending the rice hulls with the PVC, we actually get all the features and benefits, but a product that looks, feels, cuts, even smells like a piece of wood. But it won't splinter, it won't crack, it won't rot. So you can leave this in the water, you can have it in the dirt, you can paint it, you don't have to prime it, and the real caveat here is that the real differentiator for us is that you can stain it.
What? PVC that's stainable?
Exactly, yeah, and I'm happy to even show you. Yeah, so by incorporating the rice hulls into the manufacturing process, so this is a piece of our edge and center bead, right? So the last time we met, we had trim boards, maybe in some sheet goods. Now we have edge and center bead, reversible V-groove, we have nickel gap, we have a shiplap, we have folded corners, rabbited corners, but again, this is a water-based stain, which is manufactured by our friends at PPG, which is actually a heat-reflective pigment.
Oh.
Because we have PVC, we still want to be making sure that we're using the right fasteners and the right finishes.
Yep.
But I can just take this water-based stain, and I can wipe it on with this little foam brush here.
That's wild, Chandler.
We have 7 signature colors that are actually stocked by all of our partners across the country, and you now have a stainable, paintable composite that provides all the features and benefits of PVC, right? So we even say it's less like painting wood, right? We don't have tannins, we don't have sap lines, you don't have to use a special primer. You can actually just throw the stain, the water-based product, right onto it.
So Stephanie, you got a couple stain samples. What's your initial take as a builder on that?
Honestly, it looks like a rift wood.
Yeah.
It's a really great look. You don't get the knots in it, and it's a lot more durable than a rift wood would be, or even just a stained regular wood. This looks great. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Very consistent. Yeah, it's very consistent.
So Steve, you and I were on a job yesterday with How Custom Homes that you designed. The whole house had this. Brian was singing the praises on this product, and a couple things that he said that were interesting. You could put a screw almost right up to the edge and not have splitting. He felt like it expanded and contracted much, much less than a standard PVC that he used in the past. You've used this more than once.
Yeah, we've used it on a number of projects, and all the builders love it. And in terms of Howell, it's not an option with them. We just say we're using it for everything. And if they don't make it, Brian will make it.
Yeah, they've come out with a few more profiles than the 1x4 that you guys had 4 years ago, right?
Brian got a little ahead of us, but talking about users like Brian at Howell Design. So when we first went to market, we had our pitch, right? Because we were trying to find partners, we were trying to find users, and we talked about manufacturing and a zero waste, closed loop manufacturing facility, a sustainable new building product. we went to the job site and we took out a board and we cut it with a jigsaw, or we set a screw into it, like you said, and it doesn't split. It doesn't have the static charge of some of the plastics, and it doesn't melt the saw blades. The screws don't spin out as easy. So really for us, it's been the builder adoption that has been the most rapid growth for us in getting that market feedback. So like people like Brian, he makes those profiles, and then we take that information and we try to keep up with guys like him. So.
That's interesting. So I got a question for you. In the South where it's real hot, if this is a heat reflective stain, do I want to use a heat reflective paint as well on the product?
Yeah, so we have a pretty robust coatings guide on the website. That's actually one of the first things we had to really focus on, was making sure that people did treat it like wood, right? We like to say it looks like wood, but it's not. So we have very clear instructions about the approved paints and approved fasteners. On the paint, LRV above 55, or you can use heat reflective pigments from PPG, whether it's stain and paint. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, like in the warm environments like that, like the black paint from PPG with the heat reflective pigment actually builds up about the same amount of heat as Acre in its raw form. It's an incredible technology.
Yeah, I have some solid PVC trim at my house that I built a couple years ago, and I read the direction, was real nerdy about it, and that heat reflective paint is legit, because I actually painted some black trim on my Texas house facing south, and I haven't had any problems. It doesn't appear to my eye that it's moved at all. So this is just a good reminder, any builders that are using any product, whether it's new or old, read the directions, become an expert on it, know before your guys are in the field installing it what you need to do ahead of time. But very impressive. I think this is going to be something that's going to get adopted more and more in the field. How can people learn more about this, Chandler, and find out about distribution? Are you selling this more than just New England?
We are, yeah. So great question. So if you go to modern-mill.com, we do have a where to buy site. We have distribution set up across the entire country, dual distribution in most markets. In the Northeast market alone, I think we have 90 stocking partners right now on the pro lumber dealers. Also down in the Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, and we have Orapac and Holden Humphrey and Coastal Forest Products and some partners like that. So.
But even in Utah and Texas where we build, we could probably get it. It's just not maybe necessarily going to be stocked yet, but it could be a special order if I got a custom build.
Yeah, special
going
order, and we also do have some distribution partners like Hardwood Supply down there has been helping us out with some projects.
Good deal. This has been the Modern Mill booth, JLC Live 2025. All right, y'all, we're at the Lumber Plus booth here at JLC Live 2025. I got Cesar with me.
Nice to meet you, Matt.
I love seeing beautiful woods.
Yeah.
All my builder buddies like to know about woods. We got a bunch of different stuff here, but let's start with your thermally modified wood. You call this Maximo.
Maximo Eos.
And the Eos is actually kind of the brand. And what is this wood that we're seeing
here? So Eos is a South African wood.
Okay.
We ship this to Turkey, gets treated in a big pressure cooker.
Okay.
No chemical added to it. We just extract all the oils and all the sugar and all the water out. And this is the product we will be left with.
It's really pretty. I like this chocolatey color. Now it's going to gray out in time, though, right?
It grays out in time.
Want to use this outside?
Yeah, this is pine.
This is neat, and also like how you've got such different profile options. Check that out. Shiplap, TNG, shiplap, beadboard. Oh, that's interesting. Is this the same product as well?
Same product without the treatment.
Okay, without the treatment. So you could use this on interiors.
You can use it in interior.
That's really neat. Okay, so you also sell some profiles, though, that really got my attention. A 2x4 and a 2x6 out of this.
Exactly. We have 2x8s as well.
So if I've got an outdoor project, you're showing a kind of a pergola here, this would be a killer product to use for that.
Killer product. Price is amazing. You can't find this in a cedar.
Yeah,
and
that's
the price
right.
It's amazing.
So how would this compare price-wise to a cedar out there?
Half of the price.
Is that right?
Half of the price of a cedar.
Wow. And people can find you at lumberplus.com to actually look at, was there pricing online as well?
Price is online. We can send quotes through email, or you can visit our store in Sagamore Beach in Weymouth.
Very cool. Now you also sell some tropical products as well. You guys sell some Ipe and some Kumru.
Yeah. So this is Garapa.
Oh, this is Garapa, okay.
This is Garapa. This is our Ipe. So we're the leaders in the market when it comes to hardwood.
Very
We're
cool.
the largest importers of hardwood.
Is that right?
Exactly.
How about that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
However, they're more than just these woods. They even have some composites. And I got to tell you, these really struck my attention, especially this black one. That is super on trend right now. What are we looking at over here?
So this is our own brand called Norx.
Okay.
It's composite. UV rated.
And this fits together like this, right?
Our face, it's 100% PVC, so it won't fade.
Okay. So this would be like a composite deck type product that has a PVC facer.
Yep.
So composite material here, and then a solid PVC on the top. And interesting that you've got kind of a T&G style fashion, so we could fasten here, cover it over with the next board, and then you've got a really interesting vertical, which is obviously going to be rot proof. What does the PVC facer do to us in terms of fading or staining, that kind of thing?
Yeah, PVC is great. It's UV rated. It's very easy to clean. You can just hose it off. There's no stain, and it's resistant to the weather.
Interesting, man. You have some really interesting stuff here at Lumber Plus. Is that the website, lumberplus.com?
Lumberplus.com.
We're at JLC 2025. Go check them out. All right, guys, we're at the Sierra Pacific booth, JLC Live 2025. Dan, thanks for giving me the tour.
Thanks for having us.
Now, Dan and I have pre-toured a little bit, so I know what's going on here, but I'm a big casement guy. I love casements. Talk me through these two different casements you got here, Dan.
Sure, Matt. Thank you for coming in. This casement here is called the Sierra Pacific casement.
Okay.
And we have two different versions of this. We have a wide style and rail, we have a narrow style and rail. But when you look at this window, it's a real high performance window. You can do double pane glass, you can do triple pane glass.
Wow.
You can get U values down to like a 0.16 or 17 U value.
Holy cow, that's nice.
Spectacular performance.
I like that.
And we're going to be making this, as of June, we're going to be making this window up to 4 foot wide by 8 foot tall sizing.
Holy cow, a casement that's 4 by 8.
Absolutely. Currently, right now, we're doing a 3 by 8, but we're going to be going up to a 4 by 8 in the
That's
summer.
a big casement. Now, I see the casement handle, but where are you hiding your latch to open this thing? What's going on here?
It's a very good question. It's exactly the opposite of what you're used to seeing. You always see a lock on the side.
Yep.
This particular window has the lock built into the mechanism itself, the crank mechanism. So when you take that across, take this window, you can open the sash up.
I like that.
Nice and clean. And then when you look at the outside, you're going to see that the keepers are not on the sash itself. You usually have hooks on the sash. They're clean.
They're flush.
They're inside the frame instead of on the sash.
Come around here and check this out. This looks opposite of what you normally see. So these are popping up to catch the window. So when I close this now and latch it, they're going to actually pop in. That's pretty neat, Dan. I like that action.
And close it down.
That's real clean.
And
Now, do you have any other keeper handle options besides that?
We do have another handle that we're coming out with. It's going to be a magnetic version, and it looks a little bit different than that. And then when it will seat automatically right down into the nesting area.
That's very cool.
This one here is also very contemporary, where you look at this one straight on, you'll see that you don't even see the sash. It's all hidden behind the stop, so all you're
flush.
seeing is glass when you look from
Now,
the
you did do a
inside out.
two-tone here, though, it looks like. So if I would have ordered this white, it would be even more.
You wouldn't even notice.
You wouldn't even notice. It'd be real contemporary. Now, this is an all-wood window that's clad on the outside with aluminum. You guys also make an interesting window that's a little bit less expensive, and hopefully I'm not giving away the farm here, but I think this is maybe 20% less or so. Is this the H3? Did I get that right?
That's correct. It's the H3 product, which stands for hybrid 3 materials.
Okay.
It's an 055 gauge aluminum extruded on the exterior.
Okay.
It's an 078 gauge vinyl mainframe in between.
Okay.
And it's solid wood on the interior. And then we do that wood in 8 different wood species, 45 clad colors on the outside, a lot of options. And you can also get this window in double pane or triple pane.
Oh, that's neat. I don't know if it's this window, but one of your windows, one of your guys was showing me a corner sample. I think it might have been this one, where you could actually take the interior stops off for staining purposes. Is it this one that pops off?
That's right. A lot of these will come off. A lot of this stuff will come right off because it's all put in with a spline system.
That's neat.
So that's also nice too when you're going to a renovation project where you want to do through jam install and things like that. You can actually do things and then cover everything right back up.
The other thing that I heard about this is that you could really do, in 25, 30 years, you could do a full renovate upgrade without pulling the window out. Change the sash out.
Absolutely.
Do what you need to, and it's really serviceable, which I really like. And check out that triple glaze right there too.
And the 2 1/4 thick sash as well.
Yeah, that's a neat product. Another thing I heard about you guys is that you actually powder coat after the pieces are cut, so the powder coat's even on the cut edge. Is that true?
That's correct. What we do is we get long lengths of aluminum in because we powder coat. we use the positive negative charge, and we cut the pieces first, powder coat them, and then put the finished pieces together.
That's
where a
pretty
lot
cool.
of companies will just get a liquid finish and paint it in long lengths, and then they'll cut those pieces with raw aluminum.
That's
on the
pretty
edges.
neat. Talk to me about your colors. Which one of these are kind of included in the normal price? Which one of these are upgraded in cost?
Everything that you see in the top, except for these 5 metallic colors on the bottom, everything up here is all the same price as white.
Wow.
These are a little bit more the metallic finishes typically used on commercial.
Yeah.
And there's regular finishes, there's matte and textured finishes where you can feel a grit, and there's even some textured blended finishes as well.
I don't know if you can see it on the camera very well, guys, but that matte white, matte black, and grayish colors with a little texture, that's really neat. And that's cool that that's kind of normal price. You're not paying extra for that matte finish. I do like a matte finish, and not just because my name's Matt as well. All right, so Dan, let's go check out, walk this way, guys. Let's go check out your curtain wall systems. I don't know how many residential guys are familiar, but when I think of curtain wall, I think commercial, but more and more contemporary builds are going to curtain wall. And if I could just kind of explain briefly curtain wall, usually there's some type of structural component and then very thin kind of glass. You kind of think of this as a glass clamp. And so if you look at this building here, this is the steel is mainly the structure, right? The structure here is mainly holding just glass. This isn't holding roof load. But more and more contemporary houses are doing this. Give us an idea of what Sierra Pacific has in that world.
Yeah, this sample that you're looking at here is our Timberlight 2.0. It's a newer system we came out with the other year that has an LVL structure with a really thick veneer, as you can see around the perimeter.
Look at that, it looks like it's 1/4 thick right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe 3/8 on this side.
Comes in fir and white oak as far as the wood species go. And it gives you a clean look because you're getting 2 inches from glass to glass.
Wow.
Which is one of the most narrow things that you can do when you're putting operable windows next to each other. You're never going to do that.
Is this double glaze only, or can we go to a triple?
Oh, you can absolutely go to triple glaze.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that's impressive. And you got a bunch of other profiles, so if that's not your niche or not what you're looking for, you even have some steel that could be embedded, so you probably could carry some small amount of loads.
Absolutely.
With this steel profile, and they can even do tube steel embedded in there too that would come with their system. So there's a bunch of options here.
These are all things that come from the factory. We help you design it. We have to know your wind loads and all the things that are involved, and then we take that and we can figure out what kind of structure is needed for the project.
That's impressive. Dan, let's end the Sierra Pacific booth with your double glazed, or your double hung product over here. Actually, let's look on the outside, sorry. The outside here, this is a really crisp window in Matt Reisinger terms. What are we looking at here?
Well, this is called the Westchester today. We're going to be changing the name of this window to the Sierra Pacific Double Hung.
Okay.
But this is our most traditional historic window that we offer in a double hung arena. Has a nice big bottom rail, mortise 10-inch joints, an 1.5-inch check rail, where if you look at old historic windows,
I like that.
A really short check rail is very historically accurate.
I like that a lot. From the street, this could look like a 100-year window.
Absolutely, 100%. And we'll do this up to 5 feet wide by 9 feet tall, so you can get some rather large sizes.
What?
And we can do double pane and triple pane on this product as well.
Is that right? Triple glazed on this too.
Yep.
And what kind of U factors might we see on that?
Today you're going to get down to about a 0.20 U factor with a triple pane, but in the future we're going to be adding a 2.25 thick sash, and when we do that, you're going to be able to get down to probably a 0.17 or 1.8 U value.
I mean, if you think about most windows these days that are meeting code are like 0.30, 0.32, a 0.20 in this, that's 50% better performance. So that's impressive, and to get even lower on that in the future, that's good stuff. Super fun, Dan. Thank you for the tour. Very impressed here at Sierra Pacific. Before we leave, I want to go see if I can find Steve Basic, that has done a ton of project with Sierra Pac. Let's go see if we can find Steve. All right, Steve, you've used Sierra Pacific for a long time. You know these guys. Give us some advice for builders who maybe have not used Sierra Pacific.
Yeah, so a couple things about just the first initial contact. They have architectural reps and sales reps everywhere across the country. They do a fantastic job educating you in their product. Their product, I find, is a very, really good product. And one of the things that I really like about their product is Their metal is a little thicker. Their extrusions.
Yep.
But the thing I really like is they cut all of their pieces and then they powder coat rather than cut in the extrusion.
So what's the benefit of that though? Because that paint is hidden. You don't see it.
Yeah,
what's the benefit?
But I've seen a lot of windows where this slightly falls out of plane and now you see the shiny line.
Yeah.
But if you're near the seacoast here, then you have that raw edge that's now mixing with the salty air, and you're going to get some corrosion there. And
you got metal on metal.
Exactly.
Right. So if we got a paint film in there that's direct, or actually a powder coat film, really.
Yeah.
Now we've got a better, long-lasting finish.
They're protected, and they're moving in a direction where they're standardizing their frames so that you have the double glazed or triple glazed option in the same look.
Yeah, that's
the glass just gets a little thicker.
He was telling me some U factors that are getting as low as like 0.16.
Yeah, they can get down there on some fixed units and stuff.
For a nice American-made product.
They have 50 standard colors.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. And the thing that's really interesting is 40 of them are the same cost as white.
That's great.
Which is, there's not many companies. It's everything but white is usually an upcharge.
Yeah, impressive.
The back end of them, we've had a couple issues where like something got broken on the job site. Like they are the easiest team, not a problem. They got the part. We had replacement parts. Their reps will come out to the job.
Service makes all the difference.
It does, because like a lot of people, you could argue this is the same product as that, but the things that are distinctly different in our industry is the service that you get.
Yes.
And these guys walk and talk it.
That's really a big
they
deal.
really take care of you.
That's really a big deal. Guys, we're at the Sierra Pacific booth here at JLC Live 2025.
All right, guys, we are over here at the Pella booth at JLC Live, and I have Russell here from Pella. Russell, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We have a demo here that's talking a little bit about exterior insulation with a window installation. And there's two different displays here that we just did a demo on. Russell, walk me through the difference between what we've got on each one of these windows.
Yeah, so we're kind of showing a standard installation versus a performance upgrade, right? So we have a dual pane Pella Lifestyle window here. And what we're showing with this installation method is basically blocking around the rough opening so that you have a place to attach your nail fin and that it's structurally supported. So flip this over to the other side, and we're showing how here you can actually run your insulation continuously right up to the rough opening. So we're reducing the thermal bridging, and we're making sure that our window is still supported by using these insulation support brackets. So this is a super simple way to support the window both structurally, the weight of it, and to resist frame twist and keep that insulation from compressing. So these are available in 1.5 inch and 2 inch thick depths, and allows you to basically install your window without changing the installation method. This is also a triple pane window, by the way,
I want to show the difference between that. But with these, we only need one at every shim location. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
So it's not like you're having to put a bunch of these in the window. You can just use one at each shim location and you're good to go. Once they're installed, I would then wrap or waterproof your opening after you've installed those.
Right. Reduces a lot of steps too, right?
Yep.
Framing an entire opening, bucking the entire opening adds complexity.
So we have a thermal camera that's on these, and you can actually see a big difference between
Get out of your way here.
This one that is the blocking. It's got the blocking on it, so you can see the green. That's your cold coming in there, versus this one that has the insulation coming all the way to the edge. That is actually a lot warmer, a lot better performance. And the other cool thing I want you to notice on the thermal camera is this is the double pane window and this is the triple pane window, and look at where the sticker is. The sticker on the double pane is noticeably colder than the sticker on the triple pane, so it makes a huge difference. You don't realize how big of a difference that can make in the thermal imaging.
Yep. And also one other difference too, this is installed with our steady set brackets. It also highlights from the thermal image how these brackets aren't really transmitting the cold room side. So those have been tested. We know they're not going to condensate. So really great installation method there.
That's a great point. I never even thought about that, but because they are metal clips, I could see how people would assume that maybe that transfers cold in and out.
Absolutely.
Super cool. Thanks, Russell.
Yeah, thank you.
Stephanie, I missed your presentation, but I gotta give you and the Pella guys a kudos. This whole 0-degree freezer, I love this, and to do this at a trade show, this is awesome. We should talk Pella into doing this also at Build Show Live.
Oh, yeah.
I really, really like this. And last comment, Stephanie, this bracket system that you screw into the rough opening and put your window in structurally with this, I wish I would have done this on my house, because I did this 2-inch exterior insulation, but I bucked mine with, instead of a 2x4, a 2x2 at my house. This is a really neat install, and just so everybody knows, this is going to be waterproofed afterwards, right? So we would use our zip stretch tape after the fact on this to waterproof this. And don't forget, you'd also want to make some continuity of your air barrier ahead of time. So the one thing I would change on this is the zip sheathing you see here, I would have that tape go on before your exterior insulation on all the sides.
Good point.
As a continuity of air barrier. That way we're not worried about the face of the insulation as a continuity of air barrier. It's simply just a water drainage layer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, good point. So you're basically going to tape it twice.
Right.
Tape the
You're
window
gonna tape
opening,
it twice.
put the insulation on,
Exactly.
tape it after to prevent water from getting in.
Exactly. Okay. So the tape at the rough opening stage is going to go all the way in, all the way around, be taped to the zip. Then you're going to install your exterior insulation. Then these clips are going to go down. Then you set your window, and you're going to air seal it on the inside to your zip tape that's coming in. I did that method in my house. It worked really good. But this demo was killer. Way
so
to go.
Cool. Yeah, the display is great. It's cool to see how they have the camera, but it really is freezing cold behind
Big
them.
kudos to Pella for this. This is a big reason why you want to come to JLC Live, is this kind of live demo, live action. They do a great job at this show. And if you don't know it, the people that run JLC Live is the same people that run Build Show Live for us. So we do all the education, Stephanie and I and the rest of the contributors, but they run them behind the scenes. So there's some similarities to the show.
Yeah.
But something that I wanted to mention for our show, Stephanie, you know, we're a very collaborative, a very discussion-oriented, a lot of people, a lot of like connections and interactions. So if you guys haven't already, come see Stephanie and I at Build Show Live, October 16, 17, and 18. Registration's going to open, I believe, April 1st, and you can get on the website buildshowlive.com, put your email address in there so you get notified. You want to get notified because we only have, Stephanie, 300 spots for the VIP tour. It's going to sell out fast. You want to be notified.
Sold out last year, and it was huge reviews, like raving reviews. People loved that VIP day, so make sure you sign up this year.
I hope you guys will come. In the meantime, this has been JLC Live 2025. Hey Jake, check this out. Evolve Stone, it nails on. Pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not stone.
You've used this before. What is this product?
So it's a polymer base. If you've ever been to like Disneyland or a theme park, that's where this company actually got their start. It's full body color all the way through. They actually mold off of real stones. So they actually hand take real stone, press the stone into molds, and then that's where they actually get what looks like a real pattern.
That's cool. Look at this. It's totally impervious. I'm only doing this because this is a used piece, but
you have to drink it off of there now.
I have to drink it off there now. Okay, so the coffee didn't soak in. Water's not going to soak in.
Yeah.
But here's why we like it.
And out of all of the cladding manufacturers, they're one of the only ones that actually says, and water held in tension is the problem. And so they make their own rain screen product, or they sell their own rain screen product with it. So
that's awesome.
You have a WRB on the wall, and then you have a water managed system behind it. So water held in tension is not going to be a problem, which from the cladding manufacturer, like they care about your wall. That's not cool. Something that happens very often.
That's pretty neat. And just so everybody realizes, there's no mortar in between here. This is a dry stack deal. So as you're stacking it up, they have all these random sizes. And from 3 feet away, you can't see the nails. If you're like a foot away, you're definitely going to see that stainless nail. But move back a foot or two, you don't see it. It really goes away.
And most of the stones that they have now, most of the color patterns that they have now have some level of sheen in the mix. So there's little bits of sparkle in the mix too. So those little sparkles are kind of like the stainless steel nails that you're putting them on with.
Kind of fools your eye.
It all blends together. And I was telling you before we started filming, like when we put this on, I was thinking like, oh, this is a replacement for stone. and I was having a hard time understanding like why you would swap to this over stone, like if you were going to pay for stone already.
Yep.
And then I realized when we were like finishing it up, it's not that. This is not replacing stone. If you were going to put stone on the building, you're probably still going to budget for and install stone.
Right.
Inside, outside, it's exterior, interior.
All right, good point.
If you were going to do cladding in the form of siding, you probably might consider swapping to this because your
point.
siding guy can install this. It's just
it
cutting
cuts
and
with a
nailing.
saw, right?
Yeah, it cuts with the miter saw with the wood blade on it.
Yeah.
So now you have one contractor showing up and running through things, and they have a whole bunch of different patterns.
And speaking of Evolve, they've got a bunch more colors, patterns.
Close to a Luder.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. He told me he patterned this off of a Luder's limestone, which is a Texas style. And they've got bigger sizes like this one now too, with a bunch of new color options. So they got a lot more options.
Yeah.
Quick side story about this company. A builder friend of mine who's an older builder, his son was the original inventor, and the building science behind this is what I think Jake and I really resonate with. Like when you put this on, you automatically have good building science on the outside of the building, good water management. So it's a whole different league than the standard cultured stone, which frankly has a bad name in the industry because of all the failures. Now you can do cultured stone right, but you can also do it really wrong. And this one's set up for success, which I like.
Their out-of-the-box instructions are successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're at the Evolve Stone booth here at JLC Live 2025.
All right, guys, we're over here at the Schluter booth at JLC. Jake, this is some product that you and I both use quite a bit.
Yep.
Tell me like your favorite things about this, because this is, we kind of haven't really used a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
It's always been Schluter, but we have some reasons why.
Yeah, so same here. We're talking 12 or 13 years, no, actually longer than that, I think 07.
Wow.
So one system, one manufacturer, one warranty, like the only other party in the whole bathroom is whoever's supplying the water and whoever makes the tile.
Yeah.
So like we have one party if we have an issue that we're going to call.
Exactly.
From drain to shower head, basically.
Yep.
That's like the number one. So like that's the whole reason that we use Zip, right? Like we have one person that we can call and complain to if we ever have an issue.
Exactly.
Number two, this is a great example of they've set things and then they've come back and worked over top of it.
Right.
The fact that they don't care which direction you lap things because it's just that 2 inches of coverage, that is great in my mind because it allows me to set a floor, the walls, and then come back and work the tile and the walls, and then I can just waterproof where I had like ledger boards on the walls and things like that. And then it can be, I could work in different orders if I wanted. I can have production day gains by not setting the floor or not setting the drain if the plumber's not there yet.
Yep.
All those little things allow me to make patches or repairs if, you know, whatever happens.
Yep.
Or with their insets, I can cut the inset in when my grout line gets there.
Exactly.
And I don't have to try to math that out because it never comes out right.
Never.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool too because sometimes you do want to set the walls first, or you want to be able to work in a different order than you normally would because of a tile layout or a tile pattern. So Schluter really gives you the opportunity to kind of choose which way you want to go, and it doesn't affect the longevity or the actual warranty of the product.
Yeah. I also like the fact that like they're making the uncoupling membrane. It plays well with everything else. In a zero entry, I can waterproof the body of the floor in the rest of the room. They make the heating system if we're going to heat the floor.
Yep.
Everything ties together. Like I said, one manufacturer, one warranty. But when it comes to the end of the day, they also push the like everything's lightweight. I'm going to call BS on that. There's still a bunch of heavy tile and a bunch of heavy thin set in the room.
Very true.
But they did eliminate the heavy rock on the walls that we didn't have to deal with, so maybe they do get credit for that. Do you have anything else to add on it?
I don't think so. I think this is a great layout. You do a lot too, the zero entry, zero clearance shower entries. And the one cool thing that I love is if we use the Ditra heat, we can run it right into the shower. The only difference we have to do, just like they've done here, is put Curdy over the top of it. So it makes it really easy to not have to transition between materials from space to space.
And actually, while you were saying that, their education, like just the fact that you know that about their product because they do such a good job sharing information. They understand that educating us as builders about their product allows them to not have warranty claims and allows people to not screw things up. That is a huge asset that they were one of the first companies that I met that like fully invested in educating the installer so that we don't mess it up. Because any system can get messed up if you don't install it properly. Right. So we're going to grab one of the reps and ask them a couple questions. So let's do it now. Okay, I'm here with Tim with Schluter Systems. And Tim, I want you to answer a very basic question for us that has probably a very long answer. What do you guys do different that your competitors don't? What sets you apart?
I think that one thing that sets us apart the most is the fact that our system is so versatile. We have a wide variety of products. We have center drains, linear drains, different types of membranes, all different types of shower components that we can bring together to put together a full system for you. We're not just a manufacturer of a product, we're a systems manufacturer, so we can make, again, a full line of products that are all designed to integrate into one system to hopefully make the tile installer's job easier.
So, that, I think it's oversimplified when the rep says it like that. The systems approach where everything is meant to work together, where everything is meant to play together, where everything considers every other product is like the key to success in our industry. It's the problem with trying to build a house, right? There are so many different manufacturers that are bringing things together for this orchestra that is the total product of the house, where you guys get all of one room or all of multiple different rooms. That room is now covered under one umbrella. And it's one family going, I know how to make this part, play with this part, play with this part, and now I have one person to call when I have an issue, or I don't have, I have questions, and I think that's one of the things that sets you apart from the competitors, where there are lots of great products on the market, no offense to you guys, but they don't make the whole room. They don't make a thing that does this one part, they don't make a thing that does this other part.
I couldn't agree with that more. There are a lot of companies that do make great products, but it's this part, that part. You're buying different manufacturers for different things. The fact that we have the entire system, and we teach you how to put the entire system in. I think our education helps set us apart as well.
I agree
between
completely.
The product family, the family of products, and our education, I think that's really what makes us different.
Yeah, and offering choices and solutions. So we just looked at a drain on stage that's for building sinks with.
So that's the drain you just looked at. That's our Curdy Line Vario. That's a variable length linear drain. It's a shower drain. It can be used for a sink. And basically, anything you want to drain water. It's a basic drain. It's cuttable, so it's super easy to work with. We just actually get ready to launch, I think in 2 days. We're going to be launching that in 9 new colors. White, black, gray, beige, etc. So we'll offer that in 4 different patterns in 9 colors. So the options are becoming endless. I probably can't count as high as the options we have for drains. And we're not a drains company. We're a systems company.
And it's like, you guys manufacture these because they work with the waterproofing system that you
Correct. Everything we have is designed to work together, which makes it super helpful. I know you looked at our stage. We have Curdy board, we have sheetrock and Curdy over it, side by side, and that can happen in real world scenarios. So being able to mix and match those products to us is a huge advantage.
Okay. Stay tuned, there's more in the video. Tim, thank you.
Very welcome, thank you, come back.
See you in a second.
Hey folks, we are out at JLC 2025. We are at the Wedi booth and we grabbed David so we can get the lowdown on the Wedi system. So David, take it away.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you stopping by here. I want to tell you about Wedi and how we differ from the competition that's out there. Our system is made from a high-density extruded polystyrene foam. That's a closed cell type foam. It's internally waterproof. Water will not penetrate through. On the flip side, you'll see here, we have a cementitious resin coating on here with a woven fiberglass mesh installed. That gives the product the strength that it has. You'll see our 1/8" building panel here. Look how strong that is. Doesn't bend or break. 1/2" building panel you're probably going to use the most of. That by itself is super strong.
An interesting thought, I hate to interrupt you, David, but I wanted to say I think it's really interesting that you make this in 1/8 inch all the way up to 2-inch panel sizes.
Correct,
right?
correct, yes.
And I gotta say, it's real stiff. Now this is a small sample, Steve, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
moving.
No.
And it's
Not at all.
cementitious on both sides,
yeah.
which probably gives it that extra strength.
Absolutely. The mesh and the cement coating work together to give the strength it needs. And frankly, if you break that piece in half, I'm not going to stand here and tell you it won't break in half. But the reality is the house is probably falling down around you at that point because the forces that are there are way more than you'd ever experience in a build.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely said that with the different sizes we have, or thicknesses I should say. We have the 1/8 inch, the 1/2 inch, and 2 inch we're showing here. We also have 1/4 inch material that a lot of times used for floors.
Yep.
So that's a great thing that differs as well from the competition.
Yeah.
We don't have to call us and say, hey, can you use our product on the floor? It's all approved to be used on a floor situation.
Got it.
Then we have 5/8, 3/4, inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch.
And you've got a pre-sloped shower pan that you're
Absolutely.
showing here, which is actually a retrofit for a tub to a shower, right?
Absolutely, and also really important about that in a curbless scenario, so we create a barrier-free type shower. So you can see here, what we've done is we offer a recessed kit. Makes dropping the subfloor in between the floor joists and gaining the 3/4 inch of subfloor that's there so that we can put our typical base in place. You'll see that we have this bracket here. This is what mounts to the top of the joist. And then the C bracket that Steve was showing there to do where you don't have a joist. But then we install the plywood in place. It would be glued, but we're leaving it unglued right now so we can show. But you have your recess built, your 3/4 plywood goes in flush with the top of your joist, and now you've created a 3/4 recess to accept our curbless base.
That's neat.
Curbless base.
David, how do the waterproof seams get made here?
Excellent question, excellent question. We use a sile-based sealant to make all of our connections, so it's not a caulk, it's a sealant. There's a big difference there, right?
Yep.
Because of that, we don't have to do any kind of taping or anything. That's waterproof in itself.
Oh, wow.
So we do that in a 2-step process very quickly. You'll see the rabbit channel that's on here. All of our bases come with that rabbit channel included that the board fits nicely into. We put a nice bead, 1/2 inch bead of sealant in that, compress the board into place.
Oh, wow.
Attached to the wall studs, so
Yep.
it is directly attached to framing.
Yep.
Screws and washers, sorry I don't have a sample here laid here quick, but screws and washers get attached, which also get waterproof with the same sealant. And then we put a second coat topically on top. Now this one's a little more rough, we wanted to leave it that way on purpose.
Sure.
But we do about 1 inch on either side of the seam.
What's the cure time on that?
Great question. We get asked that a lot because everybody's in a big hurry now, right?
Yeah.
We got to get jobs done. We got timelines to meet. So typically after your second application is applied, because it's a moisture cured sealant, it starts curing from the outside in. So it develops the skin in about 30 to 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, as soon as you can touch it and it doesn't transfer to your fingers, you can begin tiling.
So you could, in theory, get this done in the morning and be tiling in the afternoon.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a house with like 3 bathrooms, you can go down and do the first bathroom. By the time you're done with all 3, you can return to tile.
100%. The only time we extend that time a little bit is if you want to do a flood test to make sure that everything is not leaking. Then we want you to wait about 2 hours just because you're putting pressure against there. But aside from that, you can start tiling right away.
Basically 2 hours after you're done installing, you're ready for a flood test.
Ready for flood test.
And then after the flood test passes, then you're ready to do an install.
Correct, correct.
Very impressive.
Yeah, the other one nice advantage I think I mentioned was we're internally waterproof. But secondarily is we also use a compression style drain to make our connections. You see the parts and pieces are right here that are actually inside this drain. So we have a rubber O-ring, a compression spacer, and then a locking nut with a wrench. That all comes with you in the kit. You're not buying it separately.
That's awesome.
It's a little different than our competitors. But here's the thing. There is no glue that's used here. So you don't have to be a licensed plumber to install this.
Oh, wow.
Anyone can install this in the field.
That's
So we tell the plumber to make all the connections, glue all your pipes together, extend that pipe up a little bit above the subfloor. We'll come in and cut it to the height that it needs to. Drain drops over it, you make the connection, you're done.
That's an impressive system. What is going on here? I don't have time for this. What the? Run.
All right, David, I have no idea what just happened
Wow,
there.
that's kinda weird.
Matt's gone, but we'll wrap this up.
Fair
So
enough.
one of the questions that I actually have a couple questions. First question, what separates you from somebody else?
Great question, Steve. We get asked that a lot. We have a lot of competitors in the business. What I think really separates us is that fact that we use that internally waterproof XPS foam. So in other words, you're on a job site, that shower's built maybe and it sits there for a little while, not protected by tile. That means somebody else might come in there, electrician, plumber, whoever it is, and boy, they come in there, they put a ladder on there, no problem. The product's really dense, but hey, they drop a screwdriver off that ladder and it punches right into the board. Yep. If I take water and put it in that hole, it will not come out the bottom of the board.
Gotcha.
It's internally waterproof.
Okay.
I think one other thing I wanted to mention on that, the fact that we use sealant to make all of our connections, there's no banding or patches or tape that have to be done, so you don't get any build out.
Yeah.
One big complaint I always hear from guys is, man, I got to put an inside corner banding and all this stuff, and it builds way out. It's thick.
And people don't ever account for that. It's really interesting. They just think add, and then next thing you know, you're going into the corners and this thing's bowing out of the corner because there's so much material
Exactly. We get nice and tight, about a 16th or so thick.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it's rabbited there. But
absolutely.
So if I want to become, say, a certified installer, or I just want to know more about this, where do I get more information? And do you offer kind of education classes?
Yeah, absolutely. Easiest place is just to go to our website, WediCorp.com, and on the top you'll see a drop-down menu for contractors. Click on that drop-down menu and you can look on all the classes that we have scheduled. We do virtual class online. There's a bunch of videos you can watch, a lot of help there. We have local reps out on the road that will actually come out on site with you with your first Wedi install and show you how it's done so they know that you're comfortable with the product being installed properly. We know showers can do a lot of damage if they're not done properly, so you want to be educated. We take a lot of pride in that.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much.
I appreciate your time.
I appreciate your time. And, for those of you out there that appreciate magic tricks, yeah, I'm not disappearing, but I do have to go find Matt. So stay tuned for some more videos. JLC 2025.
Okay, we're at JLC 2025. We are at Simpson Strong Ties booth. I have to say, Tim, thanks for making Matt disappear. Now he's ran all the way to the bathroom and we can't find him.
Yeah.
When we said let's shoot something in Simpson's booth, what did you say to me, Tim?
I said, what do we want to talk about?
I was like, I don't know.
I'm super excited to talk about a hold down.
And I said absolutely no one ever in history. But tell me about this. Tell me what it is.
Okay, so hold downs anchor our shear walls to the concrete, right?
Yep.
So typically we have fasteners that just nails or screws go directly into the column.
Yep.
But the SDS screws have their screws, and screws have some benefit besides just being perpendicular for shear. You also can get withdrawal loads from the threading.
Yep. So withdrawal is this way.
Yeah,
shear is this way.
Yeah. So screws usually we love when we don't want like a squeaky floor or something.
Yep.
But usually they're brittle and they want to break. Not the SDS screws. So what they did is they designed it so we have 3 and 3 that go. SDS screws go perpendicular.
Yep.
And then you have 5 that go in up through these tabs at a 45. So with fewer fasteners, you get greater loads because you get to take advantage of the withdrawal loads of the screws.
Okay.
So it just means that it's easy to install. Like we can do that with an impact driver.
Yep.
And we can get higher loads with lower installed costs.
Okay, and so the screws are swapped. You're not using joisting or nails now. You're using screws. So that's the speed there. That's the I'm not using a positive placement gun or a pair of lineman's pliers and a hammer.
And if somebody makes a mistake, you can pull a screw out.
Yeah. Say they might put one in the wrong place.
Been there, done that.
This is the other aspect of this guy. So this is our foundation connection, right?
Yep.
So you said this is going into wood. This is going into the shear wall, but this is holding us down. This is bent. Why is this bent?
So this guy in the concrete would be like this, right? So the reason it's bent, if this is our foundation wall, we want it to curve away from the concrete. We want more concrete to grab. And then this little guy, helps to anchor the thing down. What Strong Tie does really well is they see, as they go in the field, they see a lot of their hardware is misinstalled. So then they go, okay, what can we do to minimize misinstall, right?
Keep that from happening.
Yeah. So the old bolts that had like the curly Q, you would put them in like this and rotate. Okay. The new bolts, you can see the little mark there.
Yeah, they have an arrow.
It's as idiot-proof as it can get. Just put this part of like the T, put the arrow toward the inside of the wall, put the T up against the outside. That's it.
That's pretty genius. And this flange is quite large, actually. I was surprised by that. All of this, and do they ship with screws too?
So this guy comes, they said packaged, it's usually like hot wax, little bag of screws.
Yep.
And then this guy, of course, would be separate.
Okay. We'll tag in the comments or in the down below the actual name, the product name.
HDUE.
HDUE. Of course he knows exactly what the new product is. He hasn't even used it yet, and he knows what the label is. That's exactly why we like Timmy.
I can read.
Okay, Simpson Strong Size Boot, check it out. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Steve Basic Architect. We are out here at JLC 2025 for the Build Show. I caught up with the Build Show.
Oh, you're for the Build Show. I thought you were interviewing me from the JLC Live show. Got it.
Got it. Well, we're here for both, right?
Yeah, I didn't want you to leave me out of the picture.
I'm not leaving you. I was just about to introduce you.
Out.
So some of you might not know Mike because he's not the most avid social media guy, but I will tell you this. For as long as I've been coming to the show, I've been listening to what Mike has to say. This is a guy that just has a wealth of knowledge, and anytime we can catch up or you can sit in on a class that he's given, I would say put your butt in the seat and just close your mouth and listen, because what he says means stuff. I've seen this detail both ways. I've seen people say you should bring the membrane down and put the flashing up over the top, and then this. I always draw it this way.
Well, you don't want a reverse flash.
You don't want a reverse flash, but a lot of people just, for whatever reason, they say they like that and they need to put that on top. And I don't understand their logic when they say that.
Well, the potential there is to draw the water behind your fascia board, behind your metal trim, and that could be an issue. This is always a big problem in the Northeast where we are. And so I worked with a slater many, many years ago. They didn't have ice and water flashing.
Right.
So we would take a piece of copper, put it on over the fascia, and then we would mud it with a flashing cement and bed 30-pound felt into that, dark paper. And we made our own ice and water flashing.
Right.
But with today's technology, we don't need to do that anymore.
No, and when you have a company like Zip here, we obviously have a whole family of products. So they have their 5A Zip, they have their adhered membrane for roofing. On the walls, we have their 7/16 panel, we have their R sheathing, which is their insulated, and that has the zip tape. They actually have the roller developed, and I'm sure you run through all of this in your classes and clinics here. Right?
Well, it's a great system if you follow the instructions and do it correctly. You can't rush the tape. You got to be nice and neat with the tape. Make sure you roll it out, and that's what gives you your water and air barrier seal between the panels. It looks like a reverse flash, but the acrylic on the type of tape that they're using, it's like an 8mm acrylic.
Right.
That stuff, when you roll it in, it literally migrates into the fibers of the zip system surface. Yeah. And it creates it's a waterproof tight bond. Over time, it's almost impossible to get the tape off the wall.
So I had the privilege of actually fishing with the gentleman that was the lead engineer developing the tape for the zip system, and I learned an awful lot. And one of the things you touched on is the zip facing actually has what is called a micro contour. It is not a flat surface like metal. It actually has a bunch of bumps and grooves. So in say a 12-inch square piece, it's not 1 square feet of surface area, it's like 1.1 square feet of surface area, because there's all these little nooks and crannies and grooves that allow that acrylic tape to get in there and bite it.
Good. That's nice to know.
Yeah. So, and I see, we'll migrate this way, but you run through a whole bunch of the math and you share your information, which is always a great, a lot of people, I think a lot of this is lost, that the youngsters, and we can say that
yeah, my age, I think
the youngsters think, there's only one way to do something, and you've been around the block enough to understand that you might get to a roof or something, and it's like, listen, I actually have to do the math here and figure this out. And, the fact that you're willing to share that, I commend.
Well, it's something that I just want to hand this down. It's time to, now I turned 71 this year, it's time to pass the baton.
Yeah.
How many years do I have to be able to educate? And I'm trying to get younger guys in here to do presentations. That's going to keep this show alive.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. And what you guys are doing too with your educational content online, these young kids can go in there, or even the old guys can go in there and get some solid, valuable information. Because you really have to be able to trust the information you're getting.
Yes.
And that's an important part.
I've often said, Mike, that one of the greatest things that happened to the building industry was social media. One of the worst things that ever happened to the building industry is social media.
Absolutely.
Because the minute you start working on distributing information, the question is it legitimate? Is it valid? Is that somebody I should be listening to? Do they know what they're talking about?
Absolutely.
Right? Cool. And I see behind you, you took the time to do a really nice layout here of all of the different tapes that are available from the Zip system. And one of the things that I can appreciate with Zip is that they've solved for a lot of problems by having different size tapes, different size stretch tapes, depending on whether we're doing a 2x4 wall somewhere or some double wall assembly where we need 10-inch stretch tape. They've kind of solved for, most of my situations.
Well, one thing I noticed with Huber Engineered Woods is that they're reactive to the contractor.
Yeah.
I'm actually on the advisory board for them. They will send out surveys every now and then. What would you guys like out in the field? So honestly, the first time I used the Zip system, we had the 4-inch tape, which had the release liner on the back.
Right.
They had a special gun you had to use, and you'd have to get that started. And then they realized, with all a large job, you've got a lot of release tape everywhere.
Right.
And of course, on a big job, if the wind is blowing, some of that stuff is going to the neighbor's yard. Then they came out with a liner list in the 4-inch, which really made it a lot easier to install. So as they progressed, they said, well, let's come up with a 6-inch, then the 9-inch, the 12-inch. Yeah. And of course, the stretch tape, originally I worked with the 6-inch stretch tape, which is great for windowsills.
Yes.
But on a larger opening, 2x6 or maybe an 8, you'd have to double layer that.
Yeah.
So we just did an installation about 2 months ago, a 33.5-foot door. It's a multi-slide, so it had probably 4 panels. It was about 14.5 inches wide. So you've got to get waterproofing under that whole thing. So the wider tapes are great for that, for that special application where you need a really wide waterproofing surface. We put a pan on top of that, but boy, this is your belts and suspenders.
Yeah.
Anything gets past that, you're still protecting the house.
Yeah, and I always get, oh, that stuff's real expensive. But the idea is, if you're putting in a 20-foot slider, that's not a cheap door.
No.
So why do I want to put the cheapest tape on a very expensive door? I should be proportional in my response to what I'm installing. If I'm installing a very expensive door, it should have a very well done flashing system.
Absolutely.
And
the one mistake you make, if you make a mistake on that, you use something cheap, you get a leak in there, the house is finished, you got your wood flooring in, you got a 25-foot door. Have fun taking that out and resealing that after the whole house is finished.
Unbelievable.
How much did that save you by cheaping out on your tape?
Yeah, because you saved $100 on flashing tape on that door. It's just, it's not worth it. So we'll wrap this up, but in light of Zip system and their advancement, they have a new tape now. I don't know if you've seen this. This is basically their construction tape, right? It's an unbranded tape that they're going to be making. And this is kind of their version of a construction duct tape, kind of do-all construction tape. So, yeah.
Pretty aggressive, I like that.
So it's not your standard duct tape. I'm being a little, it's the only thing I can compare it to, but this is kind of a do-all construction tape. It's not meant to be put on the seams. That's why they didn't put the Zip system logo on it, because they didn't want that to be understood.
Tape.
It's a nice, strong, aggressive tape, but it is rated. You can put it on the tops of deck joists. So it is rated
as a water management
system,
the top,
where you put it across the top.
You'll keep water off the top. I don't think we need to put it on our rafters, but that's kind of the idea on the deck.
Exactly.
Prevent that water from sitting there and leaching out all our protection.
Rotting out those decks.
Yeah. Excellent. I have to say, I have seen some very unique uses for Zip tape. Believe it or not, I saw a guy taped a surfboard to the roof of his car with it. I would not recommend that. But what they're realizing, and a little short story is, anytime I send a package to my daughter in upstate New York, it's always wrapped in Zip tape. She knows it's from Dad. But now I guess I could change.
There you go. So now you got a less expensive tape that you have to buy and use there.
I like the thought of it. It's a pretty good idea. So yeah, just for general construction work, honestly, duct tape doesn't always adhere very well anyway. So
gotcha.
But the aggressive adhesive on this is it's
well
good.
You know, I'd love to tell you, you know, you're probably late to the wedding here of coming to see Mike this weekend at JLC. He probably doesn't have many JLCs left before he chooses to retire and turn it over to somebody, but if you get the chance to go see Mike talk, definitely take advantage of it. I know I do.
Thank you, Steve. So appreciate that.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay, thank the build shows too.
You got it.
Hey guys, we are at JLC 2025. We're at the Diamond Coat booth. I'm here with Brandon. Brandon, thanks for joining me.
How you doing?
You might remember Brandon from Brandon and Matt's video about Diamond Coat, but you guys have something new in the booth this year. Can you tell me about this?
We do. So this is a new acquisition for Diamond Coat and Wausau Supply. It's a UPVC product. It's laminated with a film. Several different kind of wood grain colors, solid colors, several different profiles here. So we've got outside corners. Our trims are all two-piece, so the base will go on first, and the top cap will go on. Makes it easy for install. You don't have to flex and mess around with trying to get things in tight areas. Inside corner, it's a one-piece inside corner that's flexible. It also, you can do transitions for like, you know, porch ceilings and vaulted areas and things like that. Works really well too. So very user-friendly. It's Miami Dade approved, so all the stringent tests that we have to go through there. It's a Class A fire rating, so it's a bulletproof product.
So UPVC, it's unplasticized PVC, so it's not vinyl siding like the dirty word that we think of when we think of like cheap building materials.
Right.
This is the same thing you see us using a lot of our Schuko windows, our European windows. It's chambered for strength, like all of that structure that you can see. This is a pretty darn, like I can't twist that. I can twist the flange a little bit that's not chambered, but I can't twist the body. So it is a substantially higher grade than any of the like vinyl siding products. So don't think when you hear PVC, that's a dirty word. It's capped, just like in a very similar way, I should say, to the foils that we order on our windows from Europe. We do a lot of triple glazed windows from Europe. This is a foil that, frankly, when we put that up, it actually, I mean, 5 years ago when we looked at stuff that was faking wood, you could tell it was faking wood.
Yeah.
And now it really is like, it looks like wood. And this is one of the most impressive foils that I've seen on something. Where does this technology come from?
So this technology comes from overseas. So it was brought over here. They've installed films on PVC and UPVC over there for years. So now that we have in Europe, and now that we have the technology, we're able to put a textured finish on it. Like you talked about before, the chambered honeycomb technology gives us the strength and stability. If it was regular PVC or UPVC, you know, the heat would distort it. But with the honeycomb design, it allows it to dissipate the heat and give us a really rigid product.
And if you've installed siding before, vinyl siding before, we're talking about the same quick and easy install process. What am I cutting this with?
So you're cutting with, the easiest thing to use is a chop saw, 12-inch chop saw with an 80 or 100 tooth blade, slices right through it, no chipping. Absolutely.
Down and dirty.
Yep.
As good as you can get for production time, and yet you get something that appears to be like absolute premium product from an aesthetic standpoint. We actually have this specified on a 4,500 square foot house that we're about to start that I'm excited to see it now. My project manager was like, go by the booth, pester them, talk to them about this, because I need to know if we're using it or not. And we walked by yesterday when you weren't here yet, and I was like, okay, it looks nice enough. I think we can use it.
Awesome.
So stay tuned for more for JLC. Brandon, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey Jake, before you go anywhere, I want to say a few syllables about Diamond Coat. So, got my good friend Josh. You might remember him from some of the videos, but Josh is a builder out in Mitchell, South Dakota. We're working on a really interesting project, and we're looking at using the Diamond Coat.
Yep.
So, they make a OSB siding that goes up pre-finished. You've used this before on a number of projects.
Yep.
Right, and obviously they have all of the coordinating pieces like the corner boards, etc., to put it up. But they also have a nickel gap product that isn't the lap siding. So the lap siding, it comes with a little fin, so that way there it sits off on the next one. Next one tucks up under there nice and neat. But we're looking at using the nickel gap product, And they actually have a bunch of different colors there. So we're liking it on that walnut and the silver gray and this blonde haired like oak color. So we're definitely using the walnut down below, and then it's going to be one of those two up above. And they come in a 6-inch nickel gap product, but it's basically this stuff in that nickel gap. And it's a very interesting project.
Yep.
So it's stay tuned. It's going to be in a whole bunch of series. You're going to see this on the build show in a number of different places. But if you're looking for a siding option, I would definitely take a look at Diamond Coat. And they also have a companion company, Shamclad, and they also have a nickel gap to their lap siding. So there's a lot of options there when you're looking at them. So go check them out.
Okay, we are at JLC Live 2025. We are at CertainTeed's booth. I'm with Omar. Omar,
hey.
Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about something that we just stumbled on as we were walking past here. What are we looking at here? I see a big panel flying in the sky behind us. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so this is CertainTeed's take on closed panel system. We're called One Precision Assemblies. It's a department of CertainTeed. It's our take on a closed panel system where we're actually going out and building the envelope of a home.
Okay, so you guys are assembling offsite. So we're looking at offsite construction, but rather than prefab in the sense of like we have to buy your design or something like that.
Yeah.
This is my design, my architect, maybe even my engineers partnering with your engineers.
Correct.
And then this is offsite construction that you guys are supplying us with. How thick is the wall?
Yeah, so it just depends on how much insulation you'd like. Our walls, they range from the size of about 7 inches going up to about 11 inches. And we can accommodate for like room size. So if you're losing a little bit of room, we can accommodate for that by making the room the size that you want. So.
Okay, so you can help scale the plans and figure things out to make sure our original plans don't lose footprint based off of what you guys are putting together.
Correct.
So it's a lot of your family of product. I'm seeing a WRB from you guys.
Yep.
When we're looking at the back side of this wall, I saw, let's step around there real quick. I'm seeing our insulation net, a dense pack cellulose.
Correct.
And then membrane. Now we were just talking about, there's also a service cavity here.
Absolutely,
so there's a void. What is the void for, Omar?
Yeah, so like this is our service cavity. It's gonna come pre-drilled. It's for our MEPs. So it's gonna come pre-drilled for plumbing as well as electrical so that they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to cut through any of the good stuff that we have going on here. And it's just a way for us to further highlight our product and for us to be able to protect it and make sure that it's to high standards.
So this is one of the issues that we get when we talk about offsite. If we're talking about SIPs, we have to make sure all of our wiring and all of our MEP stuff is absolutely perfect beforehand, or we're superheating a steel ball and we're dropping it through the panel. If we're talking about a lot of different prefab, we're talking about a completely enclosed wall because they're super worried about it getting wet, and there's no service cavity. So then it's like, well, are we then paying to frame another wall inside that once it gets on site? That's costly. That slows down the process of this is built off site. This is supposed to speed things up. This is like a genius little secret sauce that I think nobody's really figured out at this point.
Yeah.
And while membrane might not be right for Climate Zone 4, and you guys aren't shipping quite as far west as I am yet, you guys do have dials that I can turn for what fits better for my market, right?
Correct, yeah, so like all of our walls, what they're composed of is interchangeable. So if we do need to go to like your climate zone, we can change those things out. By the way, your climate zone is in R&D right now, and it should be out next year. So within the next year, we should be nationwide. But anything that's in our walls, you can change out. So like if you needed, like we work with a lot of contractors that want like passive house levels of insulation. We can do that ISO that's on the outside.
Okay, so continuous exterior?
Continuous exterior, yep. That's like a 2-inch that we can do, and that'll raise the R value and make everything efficient and to their level of what they want.
Okay, so give us the market that you're shipping to right now. Where are you guys available?
Yeah, so right now we're available from Maine going down to Florida and then going over towards Michigan and Ohio.
Okay.
And within like the next, I want to say 6 to 8 months, we'll be all the way through like the Southeast. We can do some parts of Tennessee. We can do Georgia as well. And then within the next year, we should be nationwide. So.
Okay. So we have finally a large player, a big company like CertainTeed, dabbling in the prefab market. This is a change. This isn't some small little tiny startup deciding that they're going to change the world all of a sudden. This is one of the big boys playing in this field. So I'm going to look forward to see how this goes. Omar, thank you for your time, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hey guys, we're at JLC Live 2025. It's their 30-year anniversary.
So wild.
I'm with Steph here. Steph, we are in the Festool booth, and I'll be honest with you, I've actually never touched until right now a Festool tool.
Yeah. They're like the elite tools of the finished carpentry world. And our carpenters love these things. Obviously, they're a little more expensive than some of the other tools that we use on the job, but you're paying for what you're getting. And this is a really cool tool that we just stopped by to see.
Yeah.
You know how everyone has our corded chop saws, miter saws on the job site?
Yep.
This is cordless. And not only is it cordless, it weighs slightly over 20 pounds. So it's
That's really light for a miter saw for sure.
Yeah, almost nothing. And then they have their Bluetooth batteries, and it's actually currently paired to the vac.
No way.
Yeah, so if you go ahead and turn it on, the thing that shocked me was the sound. It is so quiet.
Wait, so explain that again. The battery itself is operating the disc, like the vacuum? That's a separate tool though. I don't-
So all their batteries are Bluetooth.
Okay.
So it's almost like pairing your phone to something. The battery in the saw is Bluetooth paired to the battery in the vacuum, so they're communicating with one another.
So as soon as power's run out of that battery, it flips a switch on the vac and says,
Kicks it
let's
on.
go. That's really nice. Actually, just the fact that you could connect so easily to a vacuum like that. I've seen the vacs on job sites. I know they're really high quality.
Yeah, their stuff is great. And again, like just the tools, the weight, the fact that it's just over 20 pounds.
Yeah.
That makes it easy for you to like move it from job site to job site, and also to be able to like load it in and out of your truck every day to make sure things aren't getting stolen or whatever. It's great. Cool tool.
It's really nice. I can
This
tell.
one's awesome. If we walk around here, there was another thing that I just saw that really shocked me. So our painting crew is really meticulous. They come through and sand everything multiple times as they're getting it prepped and doing primer coats. The painters come through, prime everything, they'll sand it a few times, especially on our like millwork, our doors and trim. And they always have these lights like shining up on the wall.
Yeah, you can see it down the wall, that kind of thing.
Check this out. So, where are we at? Oh, I'm like, so.
That is wild.
And look how bright it is.
It's so bright.
The cool thing is you can change the intensity of the light itself or turn it off. But can you imagine going through sanding, finished carpentry work with that? You don't have to have a separate light shining on it.
So I see the battery has a Bluetooth on it too.
Yep.
So I guess you could take that dust bag off and connect the vacuum.
Exactly.
That's smart.
Yeah,
That's really smart.
Again, another Bluetooth battery that can connect to the vac, and you can get rid of all that dust that's coming from the sander itself.
Did you see the, I don't want to, that's cool, but did you see the guy behind us?
Yeah.
He's got this, this like assistive lifting device that he's wearing.
It's almost like an exoskeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. So it's gonna, I'm familiar a little bit, but it assists to help lift up your arms, take some of the weight off of your shoulders. And did you know like some of the smallest muscles in your body are those ones that like are in your neck?
No.
You know how you're working over your head like that and how you get so sore? Because it's a muscle that is like not equipped to do that.
For sure.
And I guess that's what I'm just trying to like relay what they were explaining before, like how that works. It's so cool.
Well, I heard him say earlier that you can actually put that on and lift the planer up and over your head with almost no effort because it assists you so much.
Yeah.
So imagine working on the job site and not really feeling like you're beat to death at the end of the day. That is a pretty cool thing. I could totally see like a drywall crew using that with all that overhead work that they're doing.
Well, especially, because they've got that big sander, and that sander's connected to the vacuum, which is more weight pulling on it.
Yep.
Can you imagine if you had that wonder if that thing would enable the vacuum. And you could just walk around and vacuum the job site, and you never have to touch that would be so cool, guys. Like, seriously.
Awesome.
Stay with me here.
I'm with you.
Hear me out.
There is some really cool stuff over here at the Festool booth, you guys. Make sure to get online and check out all their new tools. But I think we're going to get Eric in this exoskeleton suit and see what he can do.
JLC 2025. I got a couple newbies here. I'm curious, from your perspective, what did you think of the show, Stephanie?
I loved it. I think the personalities of the people that are here, everyone is just really nice, and it feels a lot more intimate, almost a lot more like Build Show Live.
Yeah, it really does. And Eric, what about you, man? You've never been here before either, right?
No, I'm so impressed by like the displays and the presentations.
Yeah.
Having people right there, it feels like you can reach out and touch them. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And it's funny, you and I were talking earlier, and you had been to Build Show Live first before you came here. You're like, oh, now I really get it. Like, this makes sense. It's a really engaged crowd, super busy today, by the way. And I think Build Show Live is going to be 50% bigger next year. We'll see. Tickets go on sale for Build Show Live, I think around April 1st. You're going to get to meet the three of us along with the other Build Show Network contributors. It's going to be a ton of fun. You can get tickets at buildshowlive.com. Sign up now for an email so you know when tickets go out. We're going to have a bunch of celebrities like the Tim Muellers of the world there.
Oh, man, that'd be so cool.
It's going to be fun. All right, guys, from JLC Live 2025, if you're not already, hit that subscribe button below and go check out all these contributors. I'll have a link to all these guys below. Go follow them on social, and for sure go over to thebuildshow.com so you can see Jake's videos and Steve's videos, and you can see all of Eric's nerdy plumbing videos and all of Stephanie's nerdy building videos from Utah, because we're shooting videos all over the nation on a weekly basis, trying to give you the best education and wisdom from our perspective as older tradesmen and women who've been around the block. We're doing it all free on thebuildshow.com. Hit that subscribe button below. We've got new content here every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.